This right here is a 47 Ford Tudor Sedan. It's got a 400 small block, 400 turbo. The front clip was clipped off of a 70 to 72 Monte Carlo. It's got a 9-inch Ford. It's got a vintage air setup on it, except for the compressor and bracket. Of course, it's got power steering, power brakes. This car was about a month ago. My good friend George, who was about like a second father to me, he called me up and told me to come over. He had something he wanted to give me. I go over and we're sitting there talking, and he gets down and to the safe and comes out with the title and hands it to me. I said, "What's this for?" And he goes, "The 47. He goes, "You've always liked it." And he goes, "I'm just sitting letting it go downhill." He said, I got more than I can deal with." He said, "I really want you to have it." So of course I kind of teared up. And a little backstory on the car is he got it in 1981. When he got it, it had a 327 350 turbo. It's had many motor combinations and transmission combinations over the years. It went from the 327, it had a 396 in it, and had a different 400 in it, had a 500 Caddy in it, had the 454 in it, and now back to this 400 small block. It was when he got it, it was a black car, and in the early 90s he redid it and painted it, and him and his wife, before she passed away, they'd driven the car all over. This used to be their kind of their road car when they'd go. He took it to Indy, the U.S. Nationals. It's been to Washington D.C. It's just been all around. And over the past, well, I haven't had it out in 3 years, but this car of his, I used to take it out. I've taken it to several shows, but I hadn't in the past 3 years. But it's a really good driving old car. It's got some slot miss, and it's missing on cylinders 4 and 7. And and I checked the compression on those cylinders. They have 95 pounds. All the rest of them have 125 and 130. But those two cylinders, I can squirt a little oil in, just out of a can, squirt a little in, and then do it again, and they come up to 130. So it's not valve related. It's probably just wear on those cylinders. But it had had some it's got a 650 double pumper on it, and it had some. He honestly just bought it off of a guy and put it on just a while back. But it had picked up some trash a couple times and flooded really bad, and killed the plugs. And so I'm gonna put a new set of plugs. I've on the cylinders 4 and 7. When I was noticed those cylinders were missing, I swapped out plug wires, see if it changed. Put 2 new plugs in those cylinders, and nothing really seems to change. You can take a water bottle, or actually just like it's a Pepsi bottle. Put a small hole in the end, and I was squirting the header tubes, and all the tubes except for those 2, instantly steam, and those 2 it does not. So there's something going on those cylinders. So my first thought was, it could have the cam going down on those cylinders. Checked out, and it doesn't appear. I mean, the valves are opening and closing. It's definitely not got a cam lobe rounded off. But this was a very special gift. Very special. When he gave it to me, he just gave me 2 stipulations: for me not to sell it as long as he was alive, and try to keep it undercover and do something with it. So I assured him I definitely wouldn't ever sell it. And like I said, me and my wife have always liked it. We've taken it out over the past. Well, there was a 2-year period there that we took it out a lot, and since then it's just been sitting. It hasn't even been out of his yard in the past 3 years. But I drove it the other day. I drove it from his house to here, and part of it's running rough that it had, I figured out, because the whole time we thought it had a vacuum leak, and it did. It was leaking. The line going to the modulator valve had dry rotted and broke, and was leaking vacuum there. So but the seats in it were out of I think a Oldsmobile Tornado. The back and the front. They're still in pretty good shape. It's got odometer gauges. It's got a vacuum gauge, of course, fuel gauge, volt, water temp, oil pressure. It's got odometer, speedometer, and a odometer tach. It's got a GM tilt column. But the car's pretty solid. It's got a little spot there, but overall she's still really solid. It's got we've got to go through. He told me we'd go through and try to see if we could locate where the rest of the stainless is. It needs some clips for it. But it's got a really bad oil leak from the back of the intake. Back of the intake's blowing oil out really bad. So that's what I'm gonna do first, is put new intake gaskets, put a new set of plugs, and take the carburetor apart and clean any trash out, and then I'm just going to get it out and drive it a little bit. You know, see if it. But with the compression on those two cylinders, I know it's going to eventually have to have work, but for right now I may just, like I said, try to get it out and put a few miles on it and see what all else. But just kind of wanted to share it with you. Like I said, it's a very, very special gift to me. So I'm still going to finish my wagon first, but I'm going to put this ahead of any other projects I have. So appreciate y'all watching. By the way, I recording this with the little $3 yard sale Sony Handycam, so we'll see how it turns out. Thanks.